I feel really betrayed, and I feel really, really angry. We have a president who tells us to move on from Epstein because it doesn't matter. Are you guys still talking about this seriously? And yet he still talks about the 2020 election fraud.
This is the ultimate betrayal, Carl. How does Trump survive when half of them says, you know what, bud, you're like every other president?
These Epstein files, we were told that there was going to be released. There was this client list that was going to be released. And the fact that it's suddenly gone away and he's trying to gaslight us is like a punch in the gut to MAGA.
The ultimate betrayal, a quote, punch in the gut to MAGA. Donald Trump has never been this far from home, never this far away from the safe harbor of his typically loyal and faithful base. But that is where he is right now. And that is what happens when members of your administration promote a conspiracy theory for years and years and years. And then you put them in your cabinet and they turn on your followers and tell them they're stupid. Tell them that they believe in a hoax. Now that bombshell Wall Street Journal reporting affirms what the base believes. And Donald Trump's vow to sue the Wall Street Journal and Rupert Murdoch will test Trump's ability to really play jujitsu with his voters and rally his base behind an attack on the media outlet that's largely following the theories of his base. Joining our coverage is the founder of Leaving MAGA, former Florida co-chair of Republicans for Harris, Rich Logis. Tim and Angelo are with us as well. Rich, it's a pleasure to get to talk to you. Just take me inside your sort of theory of where we are now and where we're heading.
Well, thank you, Nicole. It's a great honor to be with you and the esteemed panel. And for those who are meeting me, I want to apologize for my work on the 2016 and 2020 Trump campaigns. I don't think that there has ever been a time more so than right now in which more MAGA Americans are questioning their support for Donald Trump. And I think that there is a burgeoning cognitive dissonance pervasive across MAGA, and begotten from that dissonance are confusion and doubts. And so for any of those who are in MAGA who are going to see this, and you're wondering if this is in fact the movement that you thought you were supporting, I want you to know that I am with you because I know what you're going through. It's why we founded our organization, Leaving MAGA. We are a community and a destination for people who leave and tell their stories, for those who have doubts, and for those who are related and have close friends who are still in the thrall of MAGA. And I want to ask those of our allies, our friends and family, to consider respectfully asking their friends and family if this could be a bridge too far for them, and ask them that if Donald Trump is lying about the Epstein file here, what else is it that he might be lying about? For many months upon months, we heard from the president, the vice president, MAGA influencers that there was an Epstein list and that there was more to know about his sex trafficking. Now we hear that that's not the case. So they were either lying then or they're lying right now. I said at the DNC convention last year that Donald Trump's toxic superpower is lying, and his lies exploit and manipulate his supporters. They exploited and manipulated myself, and MAGA has traumatized every square inch of this country. But there's an opportunity, Nicole, and I believe that that opportunity is one where we could see potentially a mass Leaving MAGA movement. The MAGA fever, albeit slowly, is breaking, and I think that the president knows that.
Rich, so much to say. First of all, thank you for. I'm sure this is not what you imagined doing, but it in time I think will prove to be incredibly important. Will you tell your story of what led you to the point of leaving MAGA? What was your last straw?
Sure. I wish that it had taken me fewer than 7 years of my time in MAGA. It took me an entire year of very restless nights in solitude, just my thoughts and I, to eventually leave. There were a variety of reasons. And to paraphrase Hemingway, my epiphany happened gradually and then suddenly all at once. There was Trump's mismanagement of COVID. There was January 6th. There were the stolen election lies. My doubts and confusion really accelerated in my odyssey after my governor, Ron DeSantis, began platforming anti-vaxxers at his pressers. And the final straw for me, even though Donald Trump was not president at the time, was May 24, 2022, which was the Uvalde, Texas school shooting. I knew exactly what the Republican response would be. I knew what Donald Trump's response would be. And it was quietly, or it was rather shortly thereafter Uvalde, that I quietly left MAGA. But Nicole, there was something at the time that was really gnawing at me that I needed to go public. I had always been unapologetically public in my support for Trump, and I felt that I needed to reciprocate that, and I needed to publicly renounce MAGA. And so it was on August 30th of 2022, which I call my Leaving MAGAversary, and thankfully we've got another one coming up, when I wrote a mea culpa. And in that apology, I said that I was sorry for my support, that I made a mistake, and that I wanted to apologize to anyone I may have hurt with my deeds and rhetoric. And the God's honest truth is that I actually never thought that anyone would care, but it turned out that people did care, and I felt it incumbent upon myself to tell my story to those who wanted to hear it, because I and the other Leaving MAGA leaders who work with me, we are living proof that it is possible to change. And I would ask those who are watching this and across the country that we offer grace to those who are willing to change and will genuinely seek contrition and penitence. And that was really where Leaving MAGA came from. I would encourage those who are watching to visit our website at leavingmaga.org, get in touch with us, and read all of the stories and the testimonials of our intrepid leaders who went through a variety of odysseys, ranging from familial trauma to alcoholism to Christian nationalism. We are living proof that it is possible, in fact, to change. And I know that if we were able to do it, others who are in MAGA right now who are having doubts, they can do it as well.
What did you love about MAGA when you were in it? What was it?
You know, MAGA was exhilarating. It was exciting. It was novel. It was new. It was community. And I will respectfully push back a little bit on calling MAGA a cult, because I think that it is best understood as a community. And in that community, I had a second family. And I think that referring to those who are in MAGA as cultists, what happens is it pushes them further into MAGA. And we want to extract people out of MAGA, especially those right now who are questioning their beliefs. Two of the reasons it was so hard for me to leave: number one, I had that second family who, as much as I'm embarrassed to admit this, Nicole, often took precedence over my own blood family. And the other reason was that it wasn't just one or two beliefs, but it was years of accumulated beliefs that I had to painfully but liberatingly conclude were false. And MAGA is buttressed by lies and mythologies and conspiracies. And eventually, any movement or organization in which there is this dissemination of these conspiracies that we have seen recently, there is going to be a cannibalization of itself. And Attorney General Bondi is realizing and discovering a tenet of MAGA, which is that if you are not fully with MAGA, you are against us. That is the way we used to view those, whether they were Democrats or anti-Trump Republicans. If you were not 100% with us, you were against us. Do I understand why some would say that MAGA is a cult? I do get it. Do I think that there were some cult-like aspects to it? Yes, I know. I can attest to it. I lived it. But I would encourage people to more so look at MAGA as a community rather than a cult.